Welcome to the Canoga Park Youth Art Center's new series, World Art, where each class will go to a different part of the world and learn about their art, their culture, their architecture. And today, our destination is a tiny, tiny little island in the middle of the Pacific called Easter Island. Let's show you what we'll be doing today. Here is my pencil drawing of Easter Island. Now, anybody who watches SpongeBob knows that Squidward lives in an Easter Island head, right? So here are my Moai, that's what they're called, and this is my picture of Easter Island. But I've got some great pictures of Easter Island to show you. Let's take a look and learn a little bit. This tiny, tiny, tiny little dot is Rapa Nui, and that is Easter Island. And it was discovered on Easter, that's why they called it Easter Island by Western explorers. Right now it's controlled by Chile, but the people who found it came from way over here, in like Tahiti. So the king had a dream that they could escape the constant war they were in if he sent out some warriors to find a new place to live. And they found Easter Island. So they started to settle that island. This is a beautiful shot of a row of Moai. They would put them in a big row looking out from the oceans. Not all of them are looking out from the ocean, but sometimes they are. And you can see they're all different sizes, aren't they? Some are tall, some are smaller. Now these Moai were meant to be their ancestors. Ancestors is someone who's passed before you. So they would make these statues to honor their ancestors, and it was their belief that these statues, the Moai, looked after them when they slept. Here's one during a daytime shot, so you can kind of see the detail. They all had these funny little red hats, but a lot of the hats have fallen off by now. In fact, this is so old that much of the coastline is eroding, and now there are people trying to save these Moai from falling into the ocean by moving them closer inland. But they don't look very happy, do they? They all kind of have a very, very stern look. Let's take a close-up look at some. You can see big nose, heavy brow, not a very happy face. These guys are sitting on the ground. Now things started to go badly for the people on Easter Island. They were using a lot of trees to move these guys from where they carved them to where they needed to be. And they also needed trees to get take them down for room to plant crops. Well, what ended up happening is they took every tree. And without the tree, they had no shade, they had no way to build houses for themselves. And then the Western explorers brought rats. And then the rats ate all the tree seeds, because you'd think, well, just plant new ones, but the rats ate all the seeds. So they ended up getting reduced to very small numbers, but now it's coming back. Here's a close-up shot of a restored Moai. You can see they've got his hat back on, it's always red, they painted his eyes. They did a little bit of work to shore them up. Sometimes they're on these platforms. But there's a secret about our Moai. Look at this picture. First of all, look how big the people are. They're tiny compared to our Moai. But more surprisingly is that look how much was underground. So you think that's all you see, that's all there is. But no, all of this goes down. They did all of this work knowing that nobody was going to see it, because they believed so thoroughly that this was their ancestors and they deserved a body. And you can see in this other shot here how far down, how big these guys really were. Let's take a look at my drawing again. First of all, horizon line. So we actually have two lines here. This is the horizon line. This is water, this is sky. But look, I have another line that goes across here. That's the line where the land meets the water. So we got 1/3 land, 1/3 water, 1/3 sky, roughly. And I put this little guy in here because of the cliffs. And I put the birds in for the same reason. The way they determined the leader of their island was to send their best guy from each tribe would go and jump off the cliff and try to swim to that island and bring back the egg from a bird who would only have one egg. And the first guy that got there and got that egg and brought it back, his tribe became the ruling tribe, and his king became the king of all. So these are the cliffs that these guys had to dive off of, and it wasn't easy swimming all the way over there, especially holding an egg with one hand. And here are our Moai. I just wanted to make them a little darker. You could always leave them as a line drawing, but I went in with some pencil just to make them a little bit darker. Got my sun, got my birds, and I think we're ready to start our landscape. As with all landscapes, which is a picture of anything outside, just to remind you, you start with your horizon line first. Remember I said 1/3 with sky? Okay. Sky, ocean. And now I'm going to draw a line for the land. So we have land, ocean, sky. I'm going to draw my little cliff. Now maybe you remember when we did Loch Ness Monster, we had this like little tongue coming out. Well, we're going to do the same kind of thing this time, only I'm going to make it a little different. I got my tongue sticking out here, right? I'm just going to take a line, I'm going to go down like this. And I'm going to make these kinds of lines. This is a cliff now. Do you see how that turned into a three-dimensional cliff? Maybe I even want to put a little Moai on this guy, because they're all over the island. And some of them are falling over. When things started going badly for the Rapa Nui, they started knocking over these sculptures because they thought the ancestors had forgotten them. All right, so let's just put in a couple of our last details. We got a sun going on over here. Got a couple birdies, because we know the birdies were really important, especially their eggs. That's a very easy way to draw birds. All right, we're ready for our Moai. They're very simple to draw. You do a circle, that's your head. And then we're going to do their bodies, just come down like this. That's all there is to it. And if you want to put a hat on them, it's like this big rectangle with a little fancy thing, like a tiny little cowboy hat. And then for their face, it's a line across, a triangle for their nose. Just think of Squidward's house. And then a little kind of frown. If you wanted to, we can put our little eyes in here too. So that's what our Moai kind of looks like. Now if you want to get extra fancy, you can put some arms in here. Just a little indication of an arm. But it's all made out of rock, so it's hard to see. And we're just going to continue. I'm going to make a bigger one. Happy Moai. We're going to have his hat will be broken off. So let's give him his face, heavy brow, triangle nose, unhappy face. There we go. And we'll go back later and erase these lines. Let's make a little guy next. Little head, little body, bottom of his body, heavy brow, triangle nose, frown, eyeball, eyeball. You guys get the point. We go all the way across with this. Now remember, put some waves in here. Did you know that there are wild horses that are on Easter Island? So we could put grass in here so that it doesn't just look like a line. And remember, if we have Moai here, let's put a little grass in front of the Moai, right? It's growing in front of them too. It makes your scene look more naturalistic. So we can finish up with our grass here. If you wanted to, you could put a horse running through. Now luckily, the indigenous people of Easter Island have returned. And now if you wanted to, you could even do a tour of the island. That's our Easter Island drawing. Well, I have a different version of our drawing to show you, and this time I went with a collage. A collage is when you cut paper. It actually means cut and paste. So what I did was, I made this super cool drawing where I used only a black oil pastel to do my drawing. And then I added little grass things here. I added my waves with oil pastel. I added, the reflection of the sun coming from here. So I kind of outlined things and added some clouds with oil pastel. And then I found me some black paper and I cut out my Moai, gave him a little bit of stony color of gray, gave him some faces, gave one guy a hat, and I glued them in a row on my drawing. So you can see with color, everything's better. I really hope you guys have at least some watercolor. That would be so wonderful. Crayons work too. So we went to Easter Island today. I hope you had fun on your journey. I know I did. And I look forward to our next adventure. Thank you.